Welcome to the Unraveling the Scriptures channel. Human DNA is one of the most fascinating and intriguing aspects of the genetics of living beings. But what if I told you there's a genetic element whose origin is not human, but rather supernatural? Have you ever heard of the Rh negative factor, known as the non-human blood? Or better yet, a blood type that doesn't have a conventional origin? In this video, I invite you to delve deeper into this intriguing topic. After all, where did this blood factor come from? Leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and stay until the end to uncover more. The mysteries of Rh, negative blood. There's a certain mystery in human genetics that is rarely explored in depth today, especially when considering its possible spiritual or biblical connections. It's a fascinating subject that sparks curiosity and provokes heated debates due to its peculiar and enigmatic nature. This topic revolves around the genetic factor of Rh negative blood, a rare characteristic that intrigues scientists, theologians, and enthusiasts from various fields. The Rh negative factor is a genetic variation associated with human blood, found in an extremely small percentage of the global population. Despite its rarity, it carries significant implications and raises many questions. But what does it mean to be Rh negative? To understand this, we first need to grasp the concept of the Rh factor. This term, derived from the word rhesus, refers to a protein found on the surface of red blood cells. The name rhesus originates from the monkey used in early studies on this blood type, whose discovery was fundamental to transfusion medicine. What makes Rh negative blood so mysterious is the absence of this specific protein, a genetic trait that sets this small fraction of humanity apart. Some propose controversial theories linking Rh negative blood to evolutionary, spiritual, or even extraterrestrial factors, further amplifying the intrigue surrounding this topic. Scientifically, however, what we do know is that Rh negative blood has practical significance, such as in pregnancy cases where incompatibility between mother and baby may require specific medical care. Beyond its biological implications, Rh negative blood sparks interest due to potential historical and cultural connections. Some speculate that ancient peoples, described in biblical texts or mythologies, might have been identified by genetic traits like this. This rare trait is often interpreted as a genetic inheritance that could hold clues about humanity's journey, making the topic not only a scientific enigma, but also an invitation to reflect on our origins and the diversity of our species. If your DNA, or more specifically your blood, contains the protein associated with the Rh factor, your blood type is classified as Rh positive, which is the most common among humans. However, if this protein is absent, your blood type will be classified as Rh negative, a rare and mysterious condition. It's also worth noting that there are 4 basic blood types: A, B, AB, and O. Among these, type O stands out as universal, found in the majority of the world's population. The Rh negative factor, however, breaks the norm. Not only is it uncommon, but it's also considered by some to be non-human, due to the numerous theories surrounding its origin. These often controversial hypotheses suggest a possible connection to dark and enigmatic aspects of history. An intriguing curiosity is that certain pharaohs of ancient Egypt were found to have Rh negative blood, raising questions about how they acquired this genetic trait. This peculiarity fuels debates and reflections on potential connections between Rh negative blood and ancient lineages with symbolic or spiritual significance. Among the most controversial theories is the idea that Rh negative blood might have a Nephilic origin, linked to the so-called Nephilim, beings mentioned in ancient texts and allegedly associated with the fallen angels. According to these speculations, the Rh negative factor was implanted into human genetics millennia ago, originating from an external source. This narrative suggests it may be a mark left by ancient interventions, possibly celestial in nature, through the fallen angels, distancing it from what is considered strictly human. Although these hypotheses lack concrete scientific evidence, they demonstrate how Rh-negative blood sparks a fascination that transcends biology. It is a topic that crosses boundaries between science, spirituality, and mythology, inviting broader reflection on the impact of historical and cultural events on how we understand human genetics. These discussions continue to generate debates that captivate scholars and curious minds seeking answers to this enigmatic trace from the past. Human DNA is widely recognized as a divine creation, originating from the first humans, such as Adam, as described in biblical tradition. However, the Rh-negative factor is not part of the original genetics attributed to humanity in its initial state. It represents a rare peculiarity absent in most human populations, raising questions about its true origin. Researchers and historians note that a portion of ancient Egyptian pharaohs were Rh-negative. Additionally, records suggest that this blood factor was also common among some Inca rulers of antiquity, adding to the mystery of its prevalence in certain historical leadership lineages. Today, approximately 85% of the world population has Rh-positive blood, while only 15% has Rh-negative blood, underscoring its rarity. Controversial theories claim that Rh-negative blood is associated with a Nephilic lineage, connected to the Nephilim mentioned in ancient texts as beings linked to the fallen angels. These narratives propose that Rh-negative blood is not a natural feature of Earth, but something implanted into human genetics in a remote past, possibly as a result of external influences. In the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verses 2 and 4, it is mentioned that the sons of God took the daughters of men as wives, producing offspring known as giants in ancient times. These beings, estimated to be between 13 and 16 feet tall, were described as powerful, robust, and were often celebrated as renowned heroes in ancient times. However, some of them were seen as monstrous creatures, divided into different races that inhabited the earth before the flood. During this period, these giants became extremely numerous, while the fallen angels corrupted human genetics, resulting in a mixture that significantly altered Adam's descendants. Although the flood was sent to eradicate this deformed and monstrous lineage of beings generated by the union of fallen angels and human women, remnants of this genetic heritage appear to have survived. While most of these creatures were destroyed, reports suggest they reappeared on a smaller scale after the flood, already in the process of extinction. Even so, their mark remained in small genetic traces that, according to some theories, may be found in certain modern human populations. This idea of polluted genetics has inspired debates in both science and theology, leading to questions about how these narratives might be reflected in rare genetic traits observed today. Beyond biblical narratives, many ancient cultures and mythologies recount similar stories of divine beings descending from the heavens, uniting with human women, and creating lineages in antiquity. In Greek mythology, these descendants were known as demigods, while in other regions they were seen as monsters or hybrid creatures, often described as pre- and post-flood amalgamations. According to these accounts, these entities infested the world in ancient times, and mythologies preserve traces of their existence. One of the oldest cultures to address this theme is Sumerian, whose texts describe beings considered to be the children of deities. In the biblical interpretation and the Book of Enoch, these gods would actually be fallen angels in disguise who interacted with humanity. Interestingly, some theories associate Rh-negative DNA, supposedly of Nephilic origin, with physical characteristics attributed to these beings. Some suggest that the Nephilim had traits similar to Nordic peoples, with blonde hair, light eyes, and fair skin. Other versions, however, describe them as red-haired, blue-eyed, and with dark skin, sparking debates about their appearance. While there are disagreements about the physical traits of these giants, it is plausible to consider that they could have been born from any ethnicity, reflecting the genetic diversity of humanity. These entities might have inherited traits from the peoples they interacted with, whether European, African, Semitic, or indigenous. The Rh-negative factor according to various views, theories, and biblical interpretations, would be a heritage of fallen angelic origin. This perspective suggests that Rh-negative blood is directly linked to the fallen angels, described both in the Bible and the Book of Enoch. The central idea is that this blood type, found in a small portion of the global population, is not of human origin. If it is not human, where could it have come from? According to these interpretations, it would have emerged from the interaction between fallen angels and human women, resulting in the creation of a hybrid lineage of powerful beings. However, this subject is rarely explored, both on the internet and on platforms like YouTube. It seems to be a delicate matter, surrounded by some censorship and concealment. Only a limited number of people and channels focus on discussing Rh-negative blood from a biblical perspective, making connections with the ancient traditions of peoples like the Sumerians, Greeks, and others, who also mention beings descended from gods or divine entities. Despite this, the debate continues to provoke reflection and raise intriguing questions about the true origin of this blood factor. The rarity of Rh-negative blood, combined with theories about its origin, invites broader reflection on the connections between spirituality, history, and genetics. Could it be interpreted as a residual mark of something larger, a link to ancient events that transcend our current understanding? Or is it simply a genetic anomaly which, due to its scarcity, has generated speculation and mystery? Regardless of the answer, the topic continues to fascinate and divide opinions, encouraging both scientific debates and spiritual interpretations. If you have an opinion on this topic, share it in the comments. What do you think about Rh-negative blood and its possible non-human origin? Also, leave a like and your reflections. May God bless everyone and see you soon.